So the next part of the presentation is going to deal with how consciousness manifests itself through our physiology and the structure of the human brain, because it's extremely important to understand the structure of the brain and how the different complexes within the brain function if we're going to understand what's really going on within us. So this is a schematic diagram of the human brain, and it shows that the brain is basically broken down into 3 subcomplexes. We have, in effect, 3 small brains working in unison as one whole brain complex. And the 3 complexes within the brain are the R complex, or the reptile brain. You see it here at the bottom, and it is basically the brainstem and the cerebellum, the dark part right behind the brainstem, right here, the cerebellum, and this is the brainstem. So this part of the brain governs our survival instincts. It has to do with our motor skills. It has to do with all things that we interact with in the physical world, movement, basic survival techniques, the necessity for food, to take food and nutrients into the body, shelter, clothing, warmth, etc. So the reptile brain is geared toward the physical world. And it is focused upon survival. That's what helps us to focus on the physical things that we need to do to survive on a day-to-day basis. The R complex, or the reptile brain. So the second subcomplex of the brain is the mammalian brain, or the limbic brain. And this is the part of the brain that basically governs our emotions. It makes our emotions capable of being expressed through our body. In other words, it pumps all of the chemicals, the neuropeptides, into the body from this part of the brain that makes us feel the consequences of what we do in the world. So this is the limbic brain, and it can be seen as the intuitive part of the brain, since it generates our emotions. It's comprised of the hypothalamus, the hippocampus, the amygdala, and the pineal and pituitary glands. So that's the midbrain. And there's a third part of the brain that most people, when they see it, they think that that is the entire brain, the gray matter of the brain. And it is simply one of the complexes of the brain, but it is by far the most complex, and by far the part of the brain that gives us our human qualities, and that is the neocortex. It's called the human brain. This is the part of the brain that is responsible for higher order thinking within a human being. It makes higher order thinking possible. All of the things that distinguish us from the animal kingdom, it takes place within the neocortex. Art, science, music, speech, verbal and written communication, all neocortical functions. So these 3 parts of the brain can also be seen to be symbolic analogs of consciousness, of the Trinity of consciousness, as we have already talked about.